Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 46 of the Dynasty podcast. We are back. NBA Finals Game 2 obviously finished up today, and we're here to dissect it. Myself, Panache and Yashanu, here with Trigger, Trey Mitchell. Lots of good fun, man. This is the thing what happens when you get to the NBA Finals. You get such a break between the games, which is a little bit unfortunate. So same thing, you guys got a little bit of a break from us, but now we're here again, give you guys all the news, all the breakdown of the news in the NBA, which the main news is the NBA Finals Game 2. Celtics go up 2-0 after beating the Dallas Mavericks 105-98. Lots to discuss. Trey Mitchell, man, what was your thoughts? Mavs were your pick to win the finals and now down 0-2, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, so it's a one-man team out there at the moment. It's not looking too great. Someone other than Luka Doncic needs to start playing basketball to help this guy win, because no one's really doing it out there for him, and it's really hurting them. Like what was the score of game one? Like similar to today. Like it's not a hell of a lot of points. And today was only a 7-point game, like a couple more shots, and you could be making a series, as Jed would say. It's not a series until someone takes one at home. And yeah, Mavs let this one slide, and now they're in trouble. I'd say they're in deep trouble, down 0-2.
Big trouble, man. What is it? The teams that go up 2-0, 83% win 83% of the time. So not looking good, bruv. It is not looking good. Yeah.
Suns,
What was that?
us the 21 Suns.
Bro. Different ball game. I feel like the 21 Suns weren't like this team here. This team, and plus that 21 Suns team was going up against a team that had the guy who's probably, you could argue, first in the finals MVP race for this finals, Drew Holiday. Yeah, Celtics for me were the better team going into the series. I think it's if you take the hate away that people have for Tatum, the hate that people have for the Celtics, I think it was so clear that the better team by far is the Celtics. That's why the Celtics were the number one seed, 64 wins. They ran through the East. You can say it's because of injuries. Yes, okay. If it is, okay, cool. But they've made it to the finals now, and the team that's the best in the West, down 2-0. And yeah, my pick before the series was Celtics in 5. After the first two games, I'm still at Celtics in 5 just because they're just the better team. They've got the better players, and especially the job that they're doing on Kyrie. They're just letting Luka go to work, and Kyrie is going up against 2 All-NBA defenders. There's not much you can do when your second running mate is essentially and he's having to struggle to get shots. And even when he does get the shots, he can't make them because it's going up against elite defense. So yeah, Celtics in 5 for me from the beginning, and it's not changed after these 2 games.
Yeah, Mavericks need to figure something out, or hope a miracle happens and one of the Drew Holiday or Derek White gets injured for Kyrie to actually start playing like he was against the T-Wolves. It's amazing. Like the T-Wolves were the number one defense, and they cooked them, and now they play the Celtics, and now they're struggling. It's interesting, but man, it is the finals after all, isn't it? Like, which is intense, and they got a lot to prove, the Celtics.
Yeah. It's good defensive strategy though. Like the Celtics, in my opinion, are playing it's perfect the way that they're playing the Mavs, in the sense of, if Luka gets the ball, Luka, go to work, bro. Cook us. We don't care. You go to work, do your thing, drop points, whatever you want to do. And then if it's Kyrie, it's the complete opposite. It's Kyrie. We want to force you to be a passer. We want to collapse the defense when Kyrie drives. The same thing that is happening to Jason Tatum on the other end. If he drives, they collapse. Same thing as what the Celtics are doing to Kyrie. Collapse the defense when he drives, and it's tough for him. And then even tougher, as I was saying before, you're going up against 2 All-NBA defenders. Derek White is having crazy series right now. Drew Holiday is having probably a crazy series. I probably think it's him and Jaylen Brown up there for Finals MVP right now, but it's difficult for Kyrie. And that was my prediction for the series. That's why I said I don't see Kyrie scoring 25 plus points purely because you're going up against two all NBA defenders, a team that's comfortable switching. And even when they do switch, if you do attack, they're more than happy to just let you be a passer and not let you be a scorer and get into rhythm. They'll let Luka go get into rhythm because Luka's dangerous both as a passer and a scorer. Kyrie, probably more dangerous to you as a scorer. All credit to the Celtics. Like I said, you can be the best team all you want, but you still have to be the best team that goes out there and wins the games. They've done that twice now. And the way I'm seeing, I'm not going to say sweep. No way. Absolutely not. But I'm still firm. It's just, I just don't see the better team will always win. And the better team in this situation, by far, in my opinion, is the Celtics.
Yeah, the hate's just too far stuck in my heart to admit that the Celtics are the better team. But yeah, no, they're looking like it. Their defense is just unreal. The offense could have some improvements. Like, don't know why you need to shoot 43s a game, but they do. And they still find a way to win, I guess. But yeah, hard to beat a team with that much talent on it, isn't it? Like,
Brad Stevens assembled the Avengers, bro.
it's
And it's with Porzingis isn't even healthy. And they're doing it like this. He isn't even fully healthy. He even said today, though, I'll die out there. So he's playing game 3. He's ready to die out there. Even though I don't think he can die from a calf injury, but, that's life.
these guys be saying anything they want to get the clout.
Love it, though. Porzingis, yeah, out for a month. Then he came out, obviously, game 1, he was cooking. And then game 2, he did his thing, obviously, until he looked, I think, third quarter, maybe early fourth quarter, he was looking, bro, he did not look pretty healthy. Then I think they finally took him off. Al Horford did a shift to end the game as well. But yeah, that team, they've got from top to bottom, too good. And then Peyton Pritchard, too, bro, that buzzer beater into the third quarter. That was a momentum shifter because the Mavs had made a little bit of a run. And then he hits that, like, basically half court shot, puts them back up by 9. They're in control again, but they just played as a team. They play extremely well, which is why, even look at the hate for Jason Tatum, 6 for 22, but I thought he still played pretty well, even though he shot 6 for 22. He attacked to the basket well. He made plays for others. The only downside was at the basket, he was not finishing well at all. Even if it was Luka down there, if it was some guards down there, he was not finishing well. If he can hey, be more aggressive. Go up there, get yourself, draw a foul, try do something. If he finished better, those stats would have looked a lot better. But it doesn't matter. The main point, the be all and end all of playing in the finals is not putting up stats, it's winning a championship. So even if you shoot 18 even if you shoot 8 for freaking 28, if you win the championship, I guarantee in 20 years' time when people are talking about you, they won't be talking about the games that you played terribly in. They'll be playing about, they'll be talking about you winning a ring.
You sure about that? LeBron gets talked about all the time in 2011. Oh, I suppose they lost, but they always
Hey,
bring up field goal percentage and stuff.
hey, go check Michael Jordan's stats in what was it, game 6 of the 96 finals? No one remembers. Everyone just remembers him winning his 4th ring. There you go. So people remember, history remembers who won the rings. No one cares about the field goal percentages. If you won the championship, that's on you. And the Celtics, I mean, they're obviously in the driver's seat right now, going to Dallas. And my one concern for the Celtics was, being at home, we know over the last couple of years they've not been very good at home. So I went, man, especially game 2, the game 2 woes. But Celtics now what, 13-0 during for the season on Sunday. So that was one streak that now continues, bro. There you go. Shout out to the Celtics, the Shamrocks. 2 wins away, bro. Looking good. Looking good, Joe
You
Mazzulla. I
sound like a
didn't think he could
Celtics
do it,
fan.
but looking very good.
You actually sound like a Celtics fan right now.
I'm a Celtics fan because all you people for, what was it, 10, 12 days were saying this is the greatest backcourt we've ever seen. For what? For cooking Rudy Gobert in the pick and roll? Come on, man.
Hey man, I've been longer than 12 days. I've been since like 20th of April, mate. Nah, 20th of February. Trade deadline, I've been on the Mavs.
Yeah, I see for you. That's all good. I don't mind yours because you've been there since the trade deadline. You were screaming their praises. And I'm talking the general, the rest of the world was Greatest backcourt we've ever seen. Greatest. Oh, this team is built for the. All you had to do was, as Jed likes to say, zoom out, zoom out, and just take the hate out of your heart, the hate that you have for Jason Tatum, Deuce Tatum, and just look at the series with clear eyes. It was so obvious that the Celtics are by far the better team. There's nothing, in my opinion, that the Mavs can do. They can win a game, but I don't see them winning more than a game. This series, as I said in the comments, it's a wrap like a double crunch from Taco Bell. It's over. Ref, waive it. It's done. GG's. Celtics, banner number 18 is going up. Yeah, Celtics right now making it look easy. Now we're on the way back to, all the way back to Dallas, where Mavericks, I think, not bad. Not bad at home, but you're probably going to need to step it up because, obviously, these are the biggest two games of the season here because you probably definitely need to get one at least. I mean, obviously, you need to get at least one, but yeah, for sure, game three is massive because, if you go down 0-3, then we know the history of 0-3. No one's come back from that. So, big pressure on them. Any changes you see, for that game four that they can make to try come, get that series back?
Rotation wise, not really. Maybe Cleaver could get waived. Probably about the only one. Um, I'll just say hit shots. Get in there early and just get some more shots up because you guys need to get the ball in the hoop. And for the Celtics, just keep doing what you're doing pretty much. It's working. You're winning. Defense is the key to win, I'd say. So just keep that up. Nothing they need to really change.
Yeah. I'll say Tatum for sure. My only change for is to try to get Tatum. I mean, it might be too late in the regular season now to try change someone's game, but get to the basket. Oh, he's getting to the basket well, but when you get to the basket, being more aggressive. Try. He may miss some easy bunnies today that I thought layups he could have made over some certain guys like Kyrie or Jace. Oh, sorry, or Luca. But yeah, he get to the basket, keep going to the basket more and more and more, and eventually it'll pay dividends, whether it's by finishing it or getting yourself to the free throw line, of course. Um, for the Mavericks, I mean, the one adjustment I thought that was going to help them the most, which is what they did, was the Daniel Gafford one. Daniel Gafford being more aggressive. I thought because the Celtics like to switch a lot in game one when Daniel Gafford was getting the ball, like I don't know, he wasn't being very aggressive. Whereas today, whether it was Tatum, whether it was any little guy that switched onto him, he was being far more aggressive. And I thought that was the key that was going to help them win a game. But I mean, Celtics obviously offensively still managed to get the job done. Defensively still managed to lock up Kyrie. So that's one thing. But Kyrie, I think, is just he's in for a difficult series, man. And I don't see how that changes much because of the way that they're defending him, one, and then also two, who is defending him. It's two all NBA defenders. He's going to be in it. And that's the thing. Outside of Luke and Kyrie, there's no other player who can consistently create their own shot. Jaden Hardy, they try to give him some minutes. Not happening. PJ Washington, he does a little bit of a job sometimes getting himself some buckets, but consistently enough, no. Derrick Jones Jr., no. Derek Lively, no. Maxi Kleber, I think shoulder injury, he's a bit hurt, so I think he might be tapped out for the series. So, yeah, your number two shot creator is taken out of the series. So that's why, I don't see anything happening good for the Mavericks this season or this series.
Yeah, some crazy pick and rolls and some screens might get Kyrie open, but might have to start doing those Warriors screens.
Oh,
A bit
yeah,
deeper
the old
stick.
Andrew Bogut ones.
Yeah, something like that's gonna have to start happening.
Loves a good
Court
illegal
screen by
screen.
Gafford.
Loves an illegal screen.
Yeah.
But how about Finals MVP? We're 2 games in. Looking at the Finals MVP rankings, a couple of pages, like Basketball Forever, they've put out their, Finals MVP rankings. How about you? Who is your current Finals MVP?
I'm gonna go ahead with Jed's hot take with Jaylen Brown. Solid defense and some solid games to start the series. Um, he shot pretty well. Well, shot better than Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's offensively had a bit of a struggle to start the series. You could probably argue Drew Holiday. He had a bloody good game today. 26 and 11 on 14 shots. So you could make a case for all of them, to be honest, between Drew, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. Probably can't go too far wrong with either of those guys.
Give me.
It's
I'll take Drew Holiday. I'll take Drew Holiday purely because I think it's close. Him or Jaylen Brown for sure. It's definitely out of them two. But the reason I lean more to Drew, I think they're both ends of the court. Both have been good. They've both been playing excellent defense on the other end. Offensively, they're both producing. Excuse me, and they're both doing it efficiently on the offensive end as well. So yeah, I'd have to give it to Drew purely because he's got the other stats to help himself out a little bit higher than Jaylen Brown. But yeah, either way, you're not really going to go wrong. It's just a little bit harsh. But who do I think will win it? Like overall, who I think is the Finals MVP right now for sure, Jaylen Brown or Drew Holiday. I'll probably lean more towards Drew Holiday. But who I think will win it, I'm still sticking with Jason Tatum because I feel like the stats right now in terms of points, rebounds, assists, are actually not that bad. Obviously, the thing that's letting him down is the field goal percentage. He just needs, because I think the series finishes in 5, he just needs 1 or 2 good games, shooting about 50%. And now all of a sudden that field goal percentage looks a little bit better. Boom. And you got the stats. That's your Finals MVP. So who do I think it is right now? Give me Drew Holiday. Who do I think will win it? I'm going to stick with my original pick, Jason Tatum.
Yeah, it's fair to say Jason Tatum probably only needs to adjust his field goal percentage, and it's swung the other way around. The fans want Jason Tatum to win solely for the reason to stop conflict, I guess, between the team. Not the first radio, as Jaylen Brown said. Oh, not Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum said today in the interview. Jason Kidd's out here playing chess, not checkers.
Hey, Jason Kidd tried to play chess. And look at him. Hey, tried to play with fire, got burnt. Jaylen Brown's your best player. Okay, cool. Nice. You're down 2-0 now, my guy.
Could have worked.
He tried. He did his best. But I mean, for Jason Tatum, it's not even that bad. Like, if your co-star wins Finals MVP, doesn't matter. You're still an NBA champion. Look at Isaiah Thomas. Joe Dumars won the Finals MVP. The first time I think they went to the Finals. Cool. It's okay. You're still a 2-time champion. All it says is you're just a 1-time Finals MVP. It's okay.
What about he didn't win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP either?
They never gave out Eastern Conference Finals MVP to anyone back in the day, so no one will think of it.
I'm meaning Tatum.
I mean, for him, still, it's
well,
not.
If Jaylen Brown wins both,
Bro.
but like in 10 years' time, when someone's like, "Oh, what the hell?" Jason Tatum didn't win the Eastern Conference Finals or Finals MVP. I thought he was the best player on the team.
But that's the thing. Even if it's about winning, because think about it. Would you rather Jason Tatum go out there and drop 30 points and they lose? Because there's a difference, right? Some people go to the finals, they put up crazy stats and they lose and they lose and they lose. The logo, he's the perfect example of that. Went to the finals, what, 9 times, 1 and 8 or something like that. That's what happens. He put up crazy stats. Okay, but still, history remembers you as the guy who lost in the finals plenty of times. Would you rather be that? I would rather be the guy who goes to the finals, shoots 38%. Cool. All right, fine. Cool. Sweet. I got a ring. I won a championship.
You say shooting 38%, but he could get 30 points shooting 50%, you know?
Maybe the moment's too big for him. That may be what, but it doesn't matter. Like that's why the team is built this way. Maybe that's why Brad Stevens built the team to go get these other guys like a Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, because they knew if we just have a well-balanced team. Yeah, to be fair, the Celtics, do they have a standout star? For me, I think that standout star is still Jason Tatum. Maybe the stats in the finals don't show that, but we know throughout the regular season, all the other rounds in the playoffs, the stats do show that. Maybe the finals fever gets to him. Okay, but still, he's still playing well in my opinion. I just think it's shooting and scoring is one element of the game. He's affected the game in more ways than just scoring. So that's why for me, I still think he's played, yeah, pretty good. Shooting well, no, but there's other elements of the game that contribute to being a winner, and he's doing those other things in my opinion.
Yeah, I also think a couple of trades need to be brought up around now. The Drew Holiday and the Porzingis trade. Who's the Portland Trailblazers GM? He needs a serious talking to. Because
Oh,
how do you give up, what was it, Malcolm Brogdon for Drew Holiday? Looking at it now, there's the worst trade in NBA history. That's
that's bad
out
deal,
there.
man. Deal. I don't know how you even snake that, but at the time, for some reason, I think maybe because Drew Holiday, well, I won't say struggled in that series against the Heat last season, but he wasn't the greatest version of Drew Holiday, obviously because Jimmy Butler was going to work on him, so maybe that played a part in it.
Yeah, there was the same scenario for the Porzingis. Like Porzingis couldn't win as the second or third best player on the team. He's further on down the line. But all they had to do was give up Marcus Smart and they got Porzingis and two first round picks back or something.
Yeah.
Like Marcus Smart was like the most overvalued player in the NBA.
And now look at them. They've turned all that into a team that's probably going to win the championship. They're just, yeah. How they got these players, how they assembled this team is wild. And if they retain Derek White, then it gets scary to have a team go again next year. I don't know how old Derek White is. I know Drew Holiday's in his 30s, but I don't know if anyone else out of that five is in their 30s. I know Al Horford for sure. This might be his last year in the league because he's 37, going to be 38. So he could be done. But yeah, that core five there, all probably ready to go for at least one more year. So yeah, and yeah, but in terms of that, man, they are in a groove, and I just don't think winning the Finals MVP. Obviously, as fans, we're like, man, Jason Tatum should win it. If you're saying that you're the star, if you're the guy, you should be winning Finals MVP. But I think for him, the main concern is I want to win a championship, and if it means you don't get to put up 30-point games all the time, okay, cool. But the main thing, it's winning a championship.
Yeah, and it's been golden in that. Like you win the championship, who can talk? Like KD's got those two chips, and maybe the weakest chips of all time, but it's still known as two chips, you know?
The cupcake rings. What is it? Dirk Nowitzki's one ring means more than KD's two rings. I love that one still. Looking at another hot topic, Caitlin Clark left off the women's team USA that's going to the Olympics. A bunch of women selected above her, but obviously the controversy that's going on is not just her being left off the team, but also the games being played in the WNBA, the treatment of Caitlin Clark, whether it's on the court, off the court. People are saying, the other women should be more grateful, all this stuff that's going on. But what's your thoughts on both situations? Obviously the treatment of the WNBA, but then also being left off that Olympic team.
Oh, the way she's being treated is probably unfair for what she's actually done for the league, and the way that the players are actually treating her is actually bad. Like she's actually getting assaulted out there. The way like she drives to the hoop and she's just getting pushed over and bowled over and stuff. Women hate to see each other do well, and it's pretty sad. And it's been shown so obvious in the first however many games have they played? 6 or 7 games. That's bad. Like she's got these players' private jets and stuff now for the teams. They were flying commercial before. How much money she's brought in. It's sad. It's pretty sad. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you got to it's pretty clear. Come on, guys. We know. Let's be honest. Come on, be honest. Before NCAA women's basketball, I watched it a fair bit back in the day, you know, obviously when they had the Britney Grinders and stuff, but there was a bit in there where I didn't watch the women's Final Four for at least, what, 4, 5, 6 years. And then all of a sudden, last year was the first time I watched it in 5 or 6 years. Why? Because there was Angel Reese, there was Floor J, obviously from LSU. I love the LSU team. Then obviously now Caitlin Clark was this girl who was dropping 30-point bombs each game throughout the tournament. Then you're like, who is this? Now you want to watch Iowa. Then she becomes a massive superstar because she makes it to the national title game. Then in the offseason, everyone's going, man, how good is she going to be in her senior year? Even better. So now we're all watching women's NCAA basketball. If you ask me to name 5 men's players who played in the NCAA this year, couldn't name you. I could probably name you 3. I could name you plenty of women. I'll tell you that right now. Because of why? Caitlin Clark. Before the season, I probably was watching NCAA men's a little bit, but Final Four, that's when I'd pull up, or like during the tournament, I'd pull up. This season, women's, it felt like you were following it. Why? You had all the names: Cameron Brink, Angela Reese, like you had Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. You had so many players, Juju Watkins, like so many players that we got to know because of the player who made us watch, Caitlin Clark. So now it feels weird that she brought all that audience from the NCAA to the WNBA, and it just seems it's like so much hate and animosity. Like, bro, I don't understand this. Like, what's up, bro? Just be. I'm not gonna say be that, but like you have to understand this is the person who's bringing the audience to get you more money.
Yeah, I think you need to find the balance. Like, I guess there is always going to be some level of where's our respect. Like, you got to remember these players have committed their whole lives to playing women's basketball, and to be like genuine consensus number one picks any other year that Caitlin Clark was in the draft. You've got to recognize that there's an element of disrespect that they'll feel, but I feel like you can't take it to this level. You have to like look at the greater good of the game, bring it forward. Like, it's the trajectory is absolutely crazy. I think the one thing that the women's NBA has needed for a long time, but never been able to support because financially the viewers weren't there to support the league, is an expansion. I feel like an expansion will be on the horizon now purely because of one name, Caitlin Clark. And the fact that she got left off the roster, I think the most interesting part about it is like she's definitely good enough to be on the team. Like, she might have had some weaknesses in her game this season around turnovers and stuff, but she's definitely good enough to be on the team. I feel like for the good of the game, you definitely put her on the roster. And this stuff about, her fans criticizing the team if she's not going to get enough minutes as a reason why she didn't get put on the team, that is the biggest BS cop out. Like, if you're coaching a team and you're like, I'm not going to put this player on the team because their fans are going to react badly, you need to check yourself, because you shouldn't be coaching a team based off what the fans think.
Well, rumor has it Diana Taurasi is the coach.
Is
Man.
this a classic? Is this a
Biggest-
Michael
biggest
Jordan,
basketball.
Isaiah Thomas situation?
I don't know
Right.
what went into selection. I met the criteria, but I just wasn't selected. That's classic. That's for Caitlin Clark too. But I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it's because Diana Taurasi, this is her last Olympics, so they were like, okay, we put her on the team. But yeah, I don't know. I think Diana Taurasi is what, 41 or 42, and then she's
Nuts.
on the team.
Yeah.
So that makes I understand that one. Like, that's a swan song. That's all good and all. But yeah, I feel like at some point you should have been able to find some room. Obviously, I'm not gonna sit here and say, I know every single one of the guards who's over Caitlin Clark. I know Kelsey Plum. I don't know how good the other guards are, but I'm like, man, it just seems as though it's a little bit of a missed opportunity. But if we're playing just based off who's the best, then it makes sense. Okay, she's a rookie. There's probably some better players out there. Are there better players right now?
You say like there's better players out there, but then like you think about all like international teams, all Olympic rosters, like there is always an element of blooding in your new players, like bringing them in, getting them into the players that are going to be there for a long time. Every team in every
Yeah.
single sport, especially the elite ones, do it. So I feel like there is some element of, yeah, there could be players right now who are slightly better, but like she is 100% good enough. She may have some weaknesses in her game that haven't translated to the next level. If I'm Caitlin Clark, low key in the off season, I'm like, damn. I'd just say it. I wouldn't do it. I'd just say it. I might go play the big three for 5 million a year.
Yeah.
And then see how people react. Like, you know, That's crazy.
I'd compare Caitlin Clark to 2012 Anthony Davis. You know, Anthony Davis played in the Olympics without playing a single NBA game. Why can't Caitlin Clark play in the Olympics? Like
Um,
she
to follow up on that, I'm pretty sure in the last 20 years they've had like 3 or 4 rookies at the Olympics. So like one, and that's, you think that might not sound like many, but the Olympics is only every 4 years, so that's like what, 5 Olympics, and you've had like 3 or 4 rookies, almost one every Olympics. It's not something that the women's Team USA hasn't done before.
Yeah, and what's it called? Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi were both rookies on that team. I'm pretty
Kelsey
sure.
Plum was as well.
Yeah, so it's like, bro, like you guys have done this before. Just be honest. You guys, hey, be honest, guys. Just be honest. You didn't want her to outshine the team. They didn't want us. They didn't want this to be the 92 Olympics where one player outshone the team. Michael Jordan was bigger than Team USA. Caitlin Clark would have been the same thing. She would have been much bigger than Team USA. So I can see in that sense of saying, oh yeah, the fans will get upset. But bro, that's, as you're saying, Jed, that's not, your decisions shouldn't care about, oh, this is what the fans, you're the coach. You don't see freaking play like, what's his name? Who was the coach for the 76ers? What's his name? Who's the 76ers coach? Nick Nurse.
Oh,
do you
Nick
see
Nurse,
Nick?
yeah.
Do you see Nick Nurse subbing out Tobias Harris, even though we all know he should? When the fans say Tobias Harris, get off the court, no, doesn't listen to fan pressure. Same thing as that. Just because if you think Kelsey Plum's playing better, if you think Jackie Young is playing better, cool, leave them on the court. Doesn't matter. I don't think anyone's going to care as long as Team USA brings home the gold medal. But you can't say, well, you know what? I'm a head coach of the women's Olympics team that's not lost for like how many years. I'm not going to select her because I feel like the crowd and her fans will get mad. No, brother, no one cares as long as you bring home the gold. People will just be grateful that Caitlin Clark's there and crowds will go crazy and they'll pack out the arenas. But yeah, that's a crazy cop-out to use.
Yeah, I think the one thing everyone needs to circle back to, she's good enough. It's not like it's a token pick or like it's not like it's a pick just to put her in the team to grow the sport. She is good enough.
It's hate. It's literally all you can put it down to.
Yeah, and this sounds like an anti-bullying campaign. She's good enough. You're good enough.
Yeah, she's worth it.
No, she just gets hated for being good. That's simple, you know.
So, halfway point through the decade now, guys. As soon as this NBA Finals finish, they'll be exactly 5 years through the decade. So, obviously, over the last couple of decades, we've had all decade teams, all these different teams that come out. If you're a 2K player, you've seen this before. Obviously, they got the decade teams, but looking at this one, so 2020 to 2029, that's the decade, obviously, the 20s. But halfway point from 2020 to 2024, who is your best 5 players at this halfway point of the decade? I'll start with you, Trey. In order.
In order? I've got, okay.
5 to 1. 5 to 1.
5 to 1. I got Steph Curry, Luka Doncic at number 4, Joel Embiid, number 3, Nikola Jokic, number 2, and Giannis, number 1.
That's crazy.
Damn.
That is crazy.
I did not think he was going to put Giannis number 1. I had it down here. I was like, for sure, he's going to put Jokic number 1. Wow.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Do you think Giannis is number 1?
I'll read out my list first, then we can debate. And then, Jed, you can read out yours, then we can debate. So, my number 5, I've got Jason Tatum. At 4, I've got Luka. At 3, I've got Embiid. At 2, I've got Giannis. And at number 1, I got Nikola Jokic.
That is crazy that you've got Tatum in there.
Yeah, he's not even a top 5 player right now. That's crazy to me.
All right. You read out your list. You read out your list, Jed.
Okay. At number 5, I was going to go with LeBron. I'll put it out there. You got to remember, LeBron did win a chip this decade. So that's one. Number 4, I've got Steph. Number 3, I've got Luka. Number 2, I've got Jokic. And number 1, I've got Giannis.
Damn. So you guys think Giannis has been better than Jokic this decade?
I think Giannis has been top 3 MVP almost every season, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's got one MVP.
But that's like, there is no player with more than 1 championship. So he's got the most number of championships, equal.
Yeah.
He's got top 3 MVP every season. Had probably one of the most dominant finals runs, I think, in a long time. Well, probably since LeBron in 2016. I don't know. And he's just been... The injuries have killed him in the playoffs, but I think... Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of winning in there. A lot of winning, a lot of domination.
But that's the thing with he's got 1 MVP. Jokic got 3, and Jokic has got the same amount of championships. Like the differentiator for me, you can say, is the depoy, but then the depoy gets in my opinion, over like
2019, wasn't it?
Overtaken by because Giannis went back to back 2019, then 2020. So he's got an MVP this decade, but then Jokic got 3 MVPs this decade, and he's got the championship. So it's like you got 3 major awards to 2 because he's got the 1 MVP and the 1 depoy. And then they've got same amount of All-Stars, same amount of... Oh, no, All-NBA first teams, actually. Giannis is ahead.
I think Giannis has, he hasn't regressed since winning the depoy and MVP. Like, he's still putting up, the exact same numbers as then. And we all thought he was unreal then. Like, I don't know, just consistently great every night. But I can't fault Jokic. I'd say they're neck and neck. Like it's not a clear number 1, number 2. I just thought, Jokic, didn't really do. I don't know.
Here we go.
I'm not mad at either one, but they're clear cut number 2.
Here we go though. So for Giannis, I just want to put out there some of his rankings. The one thing, I think it'd be easier to say Giannis if the decade started in 2019, because then you'd have the 2 MVPs. But Giannis, MVP Defensive Player of the Year the next year, 4th MVP, 5th Defensive Player of the Year, 3rd MVP, 6th Defensive Player of the Year, 3rd MVP, 6th Defensive Player of the Year, 4th MVP, top 10 Defensive Player of the Year.
Man, I'm just thinking about just straight. I don't know. For me, maybe I'm underrating Giannis right now. But for me, I thought it was very clear cut for this last 5-year period that it's Jokic, particularly over the last 4 when he's won 3 out of 4 MVPs and he won a championship during that time. I think he's been, for the last 2 years, for me, clear cut number 1 best player in the world. Whereas Giannis, when he won the championship, for me, he wasn't clear cut number 1 the best. He had the best season, but in 2021, there was plenty of people who in that playoff run were saying KD is the best player on planet Earth.
Yeah, I think
Giannis won, everyone said Giannis is the best player in the world.
No, but before they made it to the finals, remember that series against the Nets? Everyone was on KD saying no other player could have done what KD done this series, carried them to a game 7. KD was the best player in the world, best player in the series. I don't until the Bucks made it to the finals and won. That's when people are like, okay, Giannis. But when the preseason rankings came up for the next season, I think Giannis, he might have been, I'll have to go check. I don't know if he was number 1, but off the top of my head, I think he was number 2. And there was still that discussion. It wasn't like when LeBron was the best, or it wasn't like Jokic is now, where it was, yup, you're number 1, undisputed. There's no debate about it. Whereas with Giannis, it was still, is it KD or is it this other guy, Jokic, who's on his way up? Obviously, it turns out to be Jokic being unreal. I don't know if I've had that with Giannis.
I think he's definitely number 2 then for me. I'd say I'll switch him around, but he's definitely number 2, Giannis then.
Yeah, I think I looked at it, and apart from the 2020 season, Jokic has been top 2 MVP for 4 out of those 5 years. So I think that does carry a lot of weight. The one thing that's like, Giannis being probably the best defender in the NBA. Up top, like a top 2, top 3 defender over that half decade, and one of the best offensive players in the NBA. That's probably where I'm more leant. But I would concede that Jokic. Yeah, you're probably right just with the MVP standings, but yeah, I don't know. Those two definitely top 2 for me.
So we got Giannis and Jokic were clear top 2 order. Okay, and then number 3 we're all Embiid.
No,
I've
no,
got
I didn't have
Embiid.
Embiid at
Looking
all.
back at it now, I'd probably put Luka there.
I didn't have Embiid at all.
First teams.
Oh, what? You didn't have Embiid? What? Who rounded out your top 5?
I had LeBron at number 5, and then I had Steph at number 4.
I'd probably swap Luka and Embiid now. I'd put Luka third just because he's got 5 All NBA first teams. That's crazy to me. He's made 2 conference finals. Well, and the finals. Embiid has not made a conference finals yet.
I think when you yeah, the one thing that probably held me back the most with Embiid, I was like, he's probably like his peak has probably been a lot further into this half decade than a lot of these other players. You look at every other player on that top 5 list, and from 2020 through to now, they've been absolutely incredible. LeBron and Steph probably dipped off a wee bit more to the end, but they got championships earlier on. So, yeah.
It's so hard for me to put Steph in. Like, Steph hasn't made an All NBA first team this decade, I don't think.
He's got a chip, man.
Yeah, you want a chip, but it's like there's 4 other years in there because outside of that year they won the championship. What? So 2020, weren't they like one of the worst teams in the league and they picked for the draft? Like they were top 3 picks. So 2020, 2021 automatically that's later bowls. So that's a terrible season.
Steph in 2019, 2020, Steph played 5 games.
Yeah, but that's on him. So they missed the playoffs in 2020.
And then since
the playoffs in 2021.
Did they?
Yeah, so they missed the playoffs in 2020 because that was bubble.
Okay, yeah.
And they missed the playoffs in 2021.
But in that year they missed the playoffs, Steph played 63 games, was 3rd in the MVP race, and averaged 32 points.
But still missed the playoffs. And then 2022 won the championship. Okay, so 2022 you're a champion. 2023 lost in the second round. And then this year missed the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, what?
No. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. That's the same thing. That's the same reason why I didn't include LeBron, because I'm like, obviously individual play for sure counts towards something for sure. But my only reason why I couldn't put LeBron and Steph in my top 5 was outside of the year that they won the championship, the other 4 years have been somewhat disappointing. If I'm looking at the whole half decade, the whole 5-year period.
You think Tatum's top 5 player over the last 5 years?
I think so. Because he's been what? All NBA 3 out of those 5 years. He's made the conference finals 4 times out of those 5 years. Made the NBA finals twice.
Just to go back on Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
The last 5 years, he's played 39 games, 66 games, 68 games, and 51 games.
Mm-hmm.
The first year, he averaged 23 points per game. Was an all-star, didn't make any All-NBA teams. Then he's had a few, he had 2 runners-ups and MVPs and 1 MVP season. He had only really 3 good seasons, and over those seasons, he played 51, 68, and 66 games and has had no playoff success. I don't know what about that. Like, apart from where he finished second in the MVP race when he played 51 games. And yeah, I don't know. I to be fair, limited playoff success, limited games, and to be fair, 2 seasons of those shouldn't really count. Maybe even 3. 3 of those seasons I wouldn't even really count. If you're not playing above 60 games, and he only played 51, and 39 in 3 of those, I don't know. It's not really. I don't think he's done anywhere near close to enough to be top 5 of the half decade.
He only played more than 65 games like once or twice in his career too, eh?
Twice.
Twice.
What do you have to say about that, P?
For me, it's being the top 2 player. What, out of the last 4 years, he's been top 2 player for me all 4 years.
But
Even with games.
Done what with it? Like he's played what 60% of a season, 55, 60% of a season, and you're like, okay, he's been a top 2. But like, I don't know.
Because I'm looking at it as a like each player has, in my opinion, there's only 2 players who are clear. There's no debate. Giannis and Jokic. There's nothing because they've got regular season, playoff. So the other 3 who are filling out the list, as I said, with Steph and LeBron, I understand winning a championship, but the other 4 years, there was nothing. There was no individual like MVP award. Outside of that 1 year, they've been very average the other 4 years, both teams. Whereas the 76ers, even though it's just we're talking about Justin Embiid, they still, even with the games played, everything like that, he was top 2 MVP. Top 2 MVP 3 times, right? He's made it to the playoffs, made it to the second round. We know he hasn't made it past the second round, but they have made it to the second round consistently. These other teams, these other guys have led their teams to a championship, but the other 4 seasons have been very not that great.
Okay, so I would say that Steph's 3rd in the MVP race and 1 championship in this decade, mixed in with top 10 almost every season MVP, is better than 2nd in the MVP twice, MVP, and playing bugger all games.
But that's the same thing you were saying about Curry. Curry didn't play bugger all games 2020 and 2021.
But I'm saying, like,
He won a chip, is what he's trying to say.
I'm just saying, I take the chip, the finals MVP, and then finishing high in the MVP race, and probably consistently playing more games and being in the conversation for MVP over 3 pretty good years, but still played bugger all. In his best seasons, he played bugger all games.
But
so what do you
think?
And you say,
one season where Steph was top 3 MVP. There was no other season where he was top 5 MVP. Outside of that one season when he was 3rd. In the other 5 years, the other 4 years, he was not top 5 MVP.
Okay. In that season when he was top 3 MVP, that wasn't the season they won the chip. So the next year he wins the chip. That's 2 pretty good seasons to me.
Yeah, but he wins finals. They were a play-in team that year when he was 3rd in MVP.
Yeah, but what you're saying, like, you take the second round over, like, what's the difference? The second round isn't special.
There is a difference. You missed the playoffs. There's a difference between missing the playoffs and making the playoffs. Come on, we know that. There's a massive difference between missing the playoffs.
In the East.
Huh?
In the East as well. You got to factor in it's in the East. He can't make it past the second round.
Oh, come on. We can't use that as a thing, man.
Bro, the 8th-seeded Miami Heat, led by Jimmy Butler, can make it to the finals. The Atlanta Hawks, led by Trae Young, can make it to the conference finals. The 3rd youngest team in the NBA, with Tyrese Halliburton, can make it to the conference finals, and yet top 5 player of the half decade, Joel Embiid, can't make it past the second round.
But that's the thing. You guys you're not talking about injuries. You're not factoring in injuries. You're not talking about injuries. Joel Embiid, not his fault. Not his fault, but he's been injured every single playoff run. That's not his fault. He's just been injured
what I'm saying is you look every single year for that half decade, there would be one team in the conference finals every year, and you're like, how the hell is this team
injuries
there? And not one year, the team that should have been there, the team with the top 2 supposed player in the NBA for that year, did they make it?
He was injured every single playoff run. He's not been healthy one playoff run. And
I'm saying
not his fault that he's been injured. But he's been injured every single playoff run that he's played in.
And I'm not rewarding that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not rewarding that. If you can't give me one season where you make it to the conference finals.
Yeah, but he made it. But that's what I'm saying. The games he played, he was a top 2 player. Every season, he's been a top 2 player. Every season, without a doubt. All these years. Well, actually, no. Not 2020.
Yeah,
the last 4.
Okay. State, he's injured. He's been injured all these years.
In the playoffs, yeah.
In the playoffs. The teams that have made the conference finals have not even been top 20 players. Embiid playing injured with one of these teams should have at least found a way to get there at some point over these 5 years. And your opinion might be, you know what, I'm going to give him the glory. I think he's done enough in his 60 games, his 50 games, his 39 games, and his one series win and a tough loss that might be enough for you to put him in your team. But under those circumstances and under what he achieved, Jed Mitchell is not putting him in his half-decade team, and nothing you say will be able to convince me because I think there is enough evidence. I think my reasoning is not ridiculous. I don't think my reasoning is that out of pocket to say that he should be in there. I'm done. I'm out.
It is because Steph Curry missed the playoffs.
I'm out.
Steph Curry missed the playoffs twice, and you're rewarding him for missing the playoffs twice. 3 times actually. They missed it again this year, so he missed the playoffs 3 times in half a decade. He's missed the playoffs 3 times, and you're putting him in the top 5. No way. Come on now, don't do that.
And also, at what point have you got to start turning the injuries onto Embiid though? Like, if you're injured every single year, like, yeah, you can't use it as an excuse for 5 years straight.
He's got the Kawhi Leonard curse, bro. It's all right. At some point in time, he'll win a championship.
What does Kawhi get? He gets all the blame now because he's always injured. That's going to happen to Joel Embiid soon.
Guys, just wait for it.
You hate to admit it, but it's going to happen.
I think maybe there's a chance that I'm wrong about Steph Curry, but I still think I would be able to find someone else that I'd be able to put in that team before Joel Embiid. I think if the NBA had the rules that they had for this season, Embiid, you would be able to rule him out easily because he wouldn't have the accolades that
That's the same thing as Luka. That's the same thing as Luka and the same thing as Giannis. Both guys have not played a lot of games. They've missed games. They've been injured.
No, I think you'll find Giannis would be mostly sweet.
Giannis was a lot of 60 games. Luka was a lot of 60-game seasons in there that you're like, hey, you're gonna make it or miss it. So if the same,
yeah, you're right about Giannis, but I think Giannis had the rules then, he would have been sweet. He played 73, 63, 67. 63. He's there or thereabouts.
Yeah, so there's still seasons in there that's under 65.
Nah, I think Giannis, because there would have been games near the end of the season that he rested. Had he needed to, he would have been able to play 2 more games. Embiid needing to play 24 more games some seasons and like almost 30 more games some seasons. I think that gap's a little bit too big. I do get what you're saying that like not everyone's playing a lot of games, but I think the gap is a lot bigger, than I will give Embiid credit for. I'm not putting him in my team.
Yeah, I'll take Embiid out, but there's no chance I'm putting Steph Curry in there. Absolutely not.
That's fair.
Who are you putting in there then?
So okay, so since I'm not gonna say I'm wrong. Fuck no. But
Fuck it.
Just quickly before you go, Luka would be sweet. He'd 70, 66, 65, 66. He had 161 game season, but that was his second season in the NBA.
So I'm gonna go Jokic, Giannis, and Luka. Those are the 3 names we are unanimous on. So now it's the last 2. We've got plenty of names in the air. I'm still sticking with Tatum. I think Tatum is top 5 for me in this last 5 years. Taking the whole body of work, for sure. I got in top 5.
You can't even throw Kawhi in there. That's crazy.
Yeah, Kawhi's been pretty dusty. Damn. So it's finding this last name because I can't put Steph in there. I'm sorry. I apologize. I can't do that. No way. Could you put a Shea?
No, he's only been good for about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So well, I reckon we should put this up to a vote. Put it up to a vote to the fans. Okay. So fans, we're only unanimous on 3 names right now. So we've got in our NBA all decade team for the 2020 halfway point, actually. So the only 3 names we are unanimous on are Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Luka Doncic. Who are the other 2 players who should be in that top 5 players of this decade so far? So that's 2020 to 2024. Who are the other 2 players that should join Giannis, Luka, and Jokic as top 5?
Are people going to throw D-Book in there? Or KD?
I mean, KD should definitely be up there. D-Book would be the one that would probably catch people off guard that might make it.
D-Book's had a good... But that's the thing. There's no other, like... For me, that's why I think I'm very adamant on Tatum. But the 5th guy, I'm like, who's the 5th guy? Because there's no other guy who's really stood out in terms of having all NBA been good in the playoffs or like made it far in the playoffs consistently. So those last 2 spots for sure are up in the air. So I'm interested to see what everyone says. So yeah, drop your thoughts, guys. We'll post this obviously on social media. So yeah, drop your thoughts. Let us know who you guys think it is. That's us, guys. Episode 46 of the Dunk Dynasty podcast. Again, thank you to all the fans who are showing support on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Make sure you go follow at Dunk Dynasty podcast. Throughout the NBA Finals, when there are games, we will be there to dissect them, give our thoughts on them, and give some tips and predictions. And if you did follow today's tips on Instagram, you would be a rich person because all 4 legs that we picked all cashed. So that's the second time it's happened in 3 attempts. So yeah, if you want to make some money, not gambling advice, but it may as well be because we're 2 from 3. So there you go. So make sure you head over to Instagram. That's where they'll only be, not on Facebook anywhere else. So yeah, make sure you follow, keep up to date with us, and yeah, more episodes coming your way. Hopefully we make it to 50 by the end of these playoffs, but the way it's going doesn't look likely. But that's been myself, Panache Shanu, Trigger Trey Mitchell, and the Terminator, Jed Mitchell, Dunk Dynasty Podcast, episode 46, done and dusted. Catch you on the next one.
Later, ball.